Illegal alien or undocumented immigrant. You've heard these words before from politicians, on the news, maybe your family or friends.
The Biden administration, as part of its proposed overhaul of the immigration system, is pushing for dropping the term illegal alien for language that is more inclusive.
Me also echo the very powerful words of the president. Words do matter.
Hearing the words inclusion and immigration reform can stir up feelings in a lot of people, putting people in camps about issues. Some see them as necessary, others see them as buzzwords. This story, though, is not about politics. This is about words and the effects they have on the people they are aimed at and the people who use them.
ABC 15's Liliana Soto has a story tonight about why words matter in a very personal way.
It was in 2010 when Drop the I-Word campaign by the organization Race Forward began.
And it led to quite a few specific outlets and the Associated Press to no longer use that term. It's called Drop the I-Word.
The I-Word being illegal.
It criminalizes, it's been racialized, and it is personally damaging to people.
She says, especially to brown people.
We don't apply the term illegal alien to every possible immigrant who's living in the United States without authorization. It's associated with particular groups such as Mexican migrants and potentially all Mexican migrants, but it's not to other people such as Irish migrants who overstay their visas, to a variety of other people.
It upsets me. It burns right in my chest. Because we're not aliens.
Lucinda Hinojos identifies herself as Chicana and Native American. She recently painted this mural on 14th Street in McDowell to bring awareness about the dehumanization of people of color.
It's about reclaiming space, reclaim our identity, and letting people know that we are still here.
She says an Indigenous and Chicana woman on the mural is a reflection of why representation and dropping words like illegal alien matter.
We need to throw that out of the vocabulary. Because we are all human beings. We're all different, but we're one spirit being. And so these words, again, carry power like the word love does. So if we're using hateful words, what do you think happens?
They are told, go back to your country.
Emir Estrada is an assistant professor at ASU. She says racial slurs and words like illegal alien are used to normalize violence against communities of color. She says in many cases it creates an anti-immigrant sentiment against immigrants working as street vendors.
Otra vez me han puesto la pistola, una vez me asaltaron, me pusieron una navaja aquí.
Because one, they believe that street vending is illegal, and two, they associate the individual with illegality and as an illegal immigrant, justifying it as this person is different, this person doesn't belong, and therefore my violent actions towards that person are justifiable.
There's a long history of xenophobic language about immigrants as criminals and people to be feared. That is not something that is just happening today, but has been something that's been a long part of U.S. immigration history.
But history can be wrong sometimes. In this case, the act of being in the U.S. without documents is in fact illegal, but the person is not. Estrada says being undocumented is usually a civil offense rather than criminal.
Many of them came with a visa to visit a family member, and for various circumstances, they overstayed their visa. So again, these labels are not even properly attached to these communities that we're talking about.
Like undocumented immigrants who were brought to the country as children, just like Jose Patiño, a dreamer in Phoenix.
It's not like I'm asking you to call me from a different name. I'm asking you to call me like God or like, hey, Your Majesty. I'm just asking you to call me a human being.
So how do we fix this?
I think it's really important to broaden our perspective and think about the things that unite us. Try to be more thoughtful about the way we talk about or think about other groups of people.
Liliana Soto, ABC 15, Arizona.
Tomorrow, ABC 15 investigator Liliana Soto takes us into a deeper conversation with Black, Latino, Indigenous, and LGBTQ community members about why words matter and the need to be more inclusive.
Words carry power. Throughout history, they have united or divided communities around the globe.
Yeah, and we've been reporting on the importance of words, how they can result in discrimination against communities of color. And tonight, in the second part of that series, Words That Matter, ABC 15 investigator Liliana Soto takes us into a conversation with Asian, Latino, Black, and LGBTQ communities to show how the impacts certain words can have matter.
Why do words matter to you?
Words matter to me because they are the main way of communication. It matters how you talk to yourself. So I think if something you're gonna say to someone else, you wouldn't say to yourself, there's no need to say it.
Frankie Pago is the president of the Black Student Union Club at Corona del Sol High School.
As an immigrant woman, as a queer woman, I feel that there's a lot of power in me coming into a space saying those things. But there's also a lot of power if people were to degrade me with words.
Pita Juarez is a filmmaker and activist in Arizona. They both share a relationship with words in their own communities.
The big word that sticks out for everyone is the N-word, because that is historically used against Black people to put them down into demeanor, like who they are as a human being.
I mean, there's an insane amount of homophobic slurs that I won't repeat. And then there's also, the term illegal that we saw for a really long time that just completely dehumanizes people.
Words can have a huge impact in the lives of many people.
I can name Kung Flu.
After former President Trump described COVID-19 with xenophobic language against Asian Americans.
The comments have been a lot of why don't you go back to China, take the flu with you.
Richard Mui is the president of APIA Vote Michigan.
Words matter, and that it really has an impact on people's beliefs and consequently their action.
Violence and verbal harassment against Asian communities increased after the start of the pandemic.
We have our voice out. We want the society to listen to us. When there's injustice happen in the society, we want people to listen to us, give us the fair respect. We're Americans, so when people talk to us, go back to your country. This is our country. This is our home.
Once we use these negative words, if somebody believes it, they can do damage.
It hurts me to see the extensive violence, especially when it's people that have nothing to do with the events that happen.
In 2019, 23 people were killed at a Walmart store in El Paso, Texas. The man accused wrote a manifesto with anti-immigrant words.
So there's been a long association of immigrants as criminals, as people with characteristics so they can't be trusted, that they can't possibly become Americans or what we consider to be, with American ideals.
So how can we shift and change that?
Lucinda Hinojos is an activist. Her words are reflected in her paintings around Phoenix. She says change is difficult, but possible.
Changing the words that we use. No longer using words that dehumanize us and to make us feel less. We may not realize it, but words that we should be using is love, hope, faith, peace.
The words just hit in such a way. I say affirmations all the time to myself, I'm a warrior, I'm living the life of my dreams, because as you do that, you'll slowly create that world around you. But if you're constantly saying demeaning words or hurtful words, you're going to create a hurtful and demeaning place in society. And that's what we ended up creating. And so now it's going away from that and creating a broader, better society.
As people, we're evolving. So language should also evolve with that. And that's why words matter.
Liliana Soto, ABC 15 Arizona.